G'day everyone, welcome back to another episode. I've already cheated and got my stuff out already. I've put a wedge in here because this corner was sitting a bit low. I had to jack it back up, and I've already cut out a piece to go in. So I've also put a little bit of a curve on it, so we can match the curve of the rest of the hard Dodger, because it's got a nice steady curve along, and that's to fill in the rest of the roof there. And I'm going to get straight into getting everything started. I want to try and get this finished this week because it's a big job and we want it done. So let's see how far we get. Alright, I want to start cutting out the side panels that are going to go into this part, which is going to be the wall. So you can sit here and put your back up against this panel. What they did before is they just cut out a piece and it went just on the outside and went straight down to the ground, and it basically covered this piece that is welded in here. They just had flat bar, and just by putting it on the outside you have a spot in between which can't be coated, it can't have any maintenance, and it has crevice corrosion. We want to avoid that. So what I've done on this side is I've got my piece of steel and I've use some spacers to jack it up to the same level as this. I'm just going to trace it out with a white Chinograph pencil. Gives me the exact angle, and I'm going to weld that inside these steps. So it's going to be welded on the inside, so it's recessed into that panel instead of just a nice cutout on the outside. So it's a little bit extra work, but there's less maintenance going on in the future. Alright, so we've got these panels tack welded in both sides. Much happier with this design compared to the old one. So like I was saying before, that went straight to the ground, and you had 2 layers of steel against each other with moisture going in. It just rusted out. So that these are stepped, and it's nice. It's a nice fit all the way around. So there's no gaps. That will be fully welded, and then it just needs a paint job. You won't even see any gap here. So it won't need much fairing at all, because considering that's a nice flat piece of steel, nice transition. So it's a good job. So the next step is to fix up where I forgot to leave a spot for the ropes to pass through. So I've popped my rudder bearing on here, and that just acts where my winch will be. So it's a nice spot for a winch. I've worked out my elbow spot and where a good winch point will be. And I've got my bearing box here for all my bearing bits, and that's about the right angle where the rope's going to pass through into a clutch and then out to the mast. So it works out that I'm going to have to cut around 100 to 150 mil out from here and leave a 200 mil section, remove that, and then blank that off on this side. So what I've decided to do is, because like some of the guys suggested in the comments, we're going to have water encroach in here. That's no good. I'm going to weld in a 10 mil bar across there, so if any water tries to come in, it's going to hit that 10 mil bar and not just drain in. On top of that 10 mil bar, I've got this nylon strip here. I'm going to cut a piece of this out, and then we're going to router in a 10 mil slot, and then that will sit over the top of that 10 mil bar, and then also on the top. So it'll be nylon strip top and bottom, and then the ropes will go in and nicely rounded off like nylon strip, which will make it less abrasive, so less damage to the ropes. I was suggesting that I could make holes in here and have the rope pass through. One of the guys suggested that that's probably a bad idea, because it's going to rub on the ropes and prematurely destroy them. Totally agree with his comment. So yeah, we've dropped that line of thought, and we're going to go for the open long slot. And another guy mentioned about water coming in, so I reckon having that 10 mil bar and then router out a 10 mil slot on the nylon and just put that over as like a bit of a wear plate for the ropes, I think that's going to solve that issue. So thanks for those guys who commented. All the comments really do help us, and I take all of them into consideration. So those ones probably saved me a little hassle later on if I went ahead and did it the wrong way, and then I'm like, oh damn, now I've got to change it later. So I think, like everyone who comments, they're sort of helping us out, and it's part of their build too, and yeah, we can all help each other out. So thanks for those guys who helped us out there. So it's one good thing I do like about the how we do our episodes, is that we're sort of just filming week by week, and we're not months and months ahead like most channels are. Like as I'm building, everyone has input, and it all helps us, because yeah, we're getting sort of live feedback from all the people that are watching, and it really does help. So thanks everyone for keeping us going, and leaving the comments, because yeah, it keeps us going in the right direction. So thanks guys. So when I cut this piece out of here, this bit popped up because as I welded this whole strip in, I did a series of welding this G-clamp on, and I pinned it down to the deck, which brought the deck up under tension, and once I welded it, it remained there. And then as soon as I cut it off, the welds holding this deck on released, and this deck popped back down again. So I had to re-weld the G-clamp back on and weld it back into position, so that yeah, just brought that deck back up to this bar. Now that bar is still in line, and I'll be able to put end caps on and then weld that 10mm bar in there, and then that bit of nylon will make to slip over the top. Alright, so I'll be back in a couple of days to do more work, but so far I've gotten these done, put caps on the end. So we're going to weld that 10mm bar in still. I've got to clamp this down and bring that deck up a bit so that it's nice and smooth. You can see a little bit of a gap in underneath there, but we'll get that to that bit. I've already done it on that side. I've done the side on here. So we're going to weld in the 6mm bar all the way around, so it's going to clamp the acrylic in. We've put the extension bit on the roof, so I'm still going to cut a chamfer on here to neaten up this join, and I've got to put a bar to extend out to the end to get that curve right. So a couple more jobs left to do to finish the Dodger off. Alright, in the plan to fix up where the ropes are coming through, I've just cut a couple of 10mm bar. I'm going to just weld that in there, and that's going to stop the water from getting in, and another one up the top here. And then we're going to get some of that nylon, and we're going to router out a 10mm slot so that a piece of nylon could fit over that as a shoe, and over that one as a shoe, and the rope will pass through the middle. And that'll stop the wear and tear on the ropes and have a nice smooth transition through the hole, and that should get us out of that trouble. So I'm fast running out of light today, but I have got all these 6mm plates welded in. So they're all just tacked in. And what's going to happen there is on the inside there will be a 6mm plate of acrylic cut out that's going to sit inside these little lips. So there'll be, yeah, some studs welded onto here and they'll come out. This 6mm acrylic is going to sit on there, and that's going to butt up basically nice and smooth with this 25mm bar there. So just sheets of acrylic going in there for the windows, and yeah, that's a nice housing to fit that window. So my next step is to cut these chamfers on these two 50mm by 150mm RHS. So I'm just going to mark out and cut a 45 across here, and then weld in a plate to seal that off nice, so it just integrates nicely into one structure. Alright, let's take a look at where we're up to. So let's just move inside. So got all the borders on to hold the acrylic, which is nice, all just tack welded in. Got some nice beams up here to support the roof. We've redone the holes, put that 10mm bar top and bottom, and there'll be about a 3 or 4mm nylon just slipped over the top of that 10mm plate, 10mm bar, and that will help not chafe the ropes, and that is going to stop the water from seeping in. So good on you for helping me out with that, and go on both sides. So we've cut these down. Sun's a bit bright, so we'll look at this side. So we've cut a 45-degree angle up here, and that's going to be a nice smooth transition. So there'll be a plate welded in there to just blend this up a bit into the lower, and then a nice 45-degree bit welded in there, and that'll just have a nice smooth transition down and around. So that's going to blend this big support in nicely. So didn't get time to finish it completely, I'm sorry, but I know it'll be nice to just have it all done. And but I'm gonna have to put a couple more jobs on this next time I'm down, but there's not a lot to do, so we'll just get that done next time. So what I'm gonna have to do next time is cut the plates out here and weld them in, just put a bar in here to extend this support to the end, and then trim this all up. Not a lot of work to do. So all the welding, all the full penetrant welding and all that, I'm going to get done on my Christmas break, because that's hours and hours of welding, and I'm going to need new wire, new gas bottle. I'm just about out of both, but yeah, you don't want to see me doing all that welding. I'll do that as much as I can off camera, but we'll show you a little bit. So I'll come back at Christmas, do all the welding, but as you can see, it's a lot sharper of an angle than it used to be. It doesn't go as far back, and with having a negative angle on this side, just gives it that more modern look. So we're happy with that. We're just about done. So one thing I wanted to ask the guys who are helping me out each week is, I'm trying to make a decision on this window here on both sides. So this window was originally planned to be similar to this, boarded, and a piece of acrylic going in, which gives you full protection from all the wind and the splashes. However, I'm tempted to put in a plate coming out here and a round section going all the way down to strengthen it up, and have a winch mounted on here, and this winch would control the jib and the cutter up the top, up the front. We'll have a roller furling up the front, and the ropes running all the way down the sides to here, and it'll give me control over that down here. It would save running the lines all the way up and over and having heaps of lines coming through there. So let me know if you think it'll be wise to put a little winch here. As it stands, it could be a nice little armrest, because it's at the perfect height for me anyway, just to have a nice armrest to rest against, and it's nice and comfy, but you do get the splashes and the mist from the water. This boat does sit pretty high up from the water, so that'll be pretty limited, but you can also have one of those roll down canvases, those clear plastic ones that just sort of roll down and clip on the side if it's troublesome. So let me know what you think about this. I'm leaning towards leaving it like that, but yeah, you guys let me know what you think. Unfortunately, that's all we got time for this week. Try to get the Dodger done. Fortunately, the wind slowed me down with blowing my gas away. Could have switched over to the arc welder, but I thought, well, with the time I'm losing switching over to the arc and the time I'm losing with the wind, they cancel each other out. So I just pushed on with just trying to tack it all together in the gale force winds we had. But let me know what you guys think about the winches on the sides, and unfortunately, yeah, that's all we got time for this week. So leave the comments and hit a like, and I'll get back to everyone, and we'll see you next week. Thanks guys.